CW6 presents SeaWorld's One Ocean Celebration.
This is Shamu!
SeaWorld. The name says it all. More than 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. In more than 50 years since this park opened its doors, it's become a center for zoological research.
And as every San Diegan knows, SeaWorld is way more than a water park. It's a place to explore the wonders of the undersea world and learn about the critical balance between humanity and nature.
Yeah, in the next 30 minutes, we are going to get a unique behind-the-scenes look at the lives of the trainers and the animals. We're also going to look at the future of the ORCA program.
But first, let's take a look at the highlights of SeaWorld's first 50 years.
SeaWorld, a 70-acre family fun place.
My name's Al Garver. I'm the Vice President of Zoological Operations at SeaWorld in San Diego. I started working at SeaWorld in 1972, actually when I was still in high school. Back in the 70s, the park was a lot smaller, so a huge change in the number and variety of animals that we have to display and educate people about, as well as our techniques for caring with them.
Swim.
The killer whale shows have changed every 4 or 5 years over time, and generally it would reflect kind of the popular theme of the moment, and it would evolve, and each show would be a different iteration with more or less information about the animals in each show.
I'm Lindy Donahue. I have been here almost 17 years. We interact with the whales the same regardless of what the shows do. When we spend time with these whales, it's quality time. It's interacting with a best friend.
Are you keeping an eye on her? Yeah, you sure are. Check it out.
Shows were a lot more basic. If you were to compare shows from 25 or 30 years ago to today, I think that you would see a lot more varied behavior from the killer whales. 30 years ago, the killer whales had a repertoire of 20 or 30 behaviors, and now they may have a repertoire of 150 different behaviors that trainers can choose from. And again, that's all part of keeping them mentally and physically challenged to just take good care of them. My favorite show over the years with the killer whales was the Shamu Adventure, which was in the early to mid-90s, I believe, and it had a Pacific Northwest theme to it and really talked about Northwest Native American ties to the killer whale and a lot about the Pacific Northwest populations of killer whales. And it was just a great show that was very informational as well as really entertaining for the public. One Ocean was really looking at how everything is tied together, and the idea that really there is one ocean and it supports all of the marine life and has a huge impact on all life on the different continents. So it had a conservation message as well as looking at the killer whale as a top-level predator within that environment and all of the things that can impact them as a result of how the oceans are changing.
One of the coolest parts of doing presentations and shows is that the whales are engaged and they want to be out there. And they've shown us that through the years. Where they jump and how they do their behaviors, that might change, but our care for them and our love, that's just ongoing.
Ride shows and exhibits are only part of the SeaWorld story. The hundreds of species that live here are also part of an ongoing scientific effort to better understand them.
Amy DuPont shows us how the behind-the-scenes research at SeaWorld is having an ongoing impact on animals and people all over the world.
For every minute of laughs and onstage action, there are hundreds of others, like these.
Here we go.
Quiet moments that are equally thrilling.
It's fascinating. I've learned so much just being a part of the research.
What you are seeing has never been done before. SeaWorld trainers and veterinarian Dr. Todd Schmidt using ultrasound technology to find out how much fat a mother orca can safely lose when nursing her calf, and if any toxins are passed between the two during feeding.
When we're dealing with animals that are 5,000 pounds, it's probably one of the best diagnostic tools that we have.
SeaWorld is the only place in the world where humans have gained the trust needed to keep a nearly 4,000-pound killer whale still for an ultrasound and draw blood from her 1,300-pound calf.
It's a privilege and it's an honor to be able to use my relationship and my bond with the animals to help researchers get the information that they need to help solve some of the more dramatic issues out in the wild.
SeaWorld staff have been conducting research and sharing what they learn with other scientists for 52 years. The Hub SeaWorld Research Institute actually opened a year before the theme park. That's because SeaWorld founders believe the more they learn about the animals in their care, the more we can care for marine animals in the wild.
It's important for us to understand as much as we can about them so that we know how we can minimize the impacts of our activities on them.
The research done here doesn't just end up in textbooks. It's passed on to the fishing, energy, transportation, and tourism industries where it has practical applications and real-world impacts on the species studied here in San Diego.
We have the opportunity to really make a difference in the animals that live on our planet.
SeaWorld research has changed where and how humans harvest natural resources from the ocean by putting catch limits on some marine species, reducing the noise fishing nets make to keep whales and dolphins away from boats, and by better understanding how animals react to natural and human-induced change.
The fact that our relationship can empower and help so many different individuals, and not only just people that are a part of this research, but the animals that are still out there in the wild, it's just remarkable.
The groundbreaking work being done at SeaWorld is only possible because of the bond between the animals that live here and the humans who care for them. A mutual respect earned through hours, weeks, and years when no one is watching. Then put on display to inspire a new generation to love these amazing creatures and continue the important work that still needs to be done.
So that a child that's sitting here in the audience one day may be the scientist out on a research vessel 20 years from then, making a difference in the world.
For the SeaWorld staff, caring for and learning from the animals is a top priority. So is making sure millions leave this park with memories that will last a lifetime.
From the spectacular shows to the one-of-a-kind interactive experiences, as Carlos Correa reports, SeaWorld's ocean of fans are a testament to their overwhelming success.
Every show at SeaWorld is part spectacle and part education, and Bob Roth has been a fan and student for decades.
I've been coming here since 1972.
The shows have gone through many changes over the years, but Bob's love for the orcas keeps him coming back.
Watching them being the killer whales, splashing, playing, jumping, and seeing that they do the same thing in the wild. So it's kind of like, hey, this is just what they do.
These majestic animals have inspired generations with their antics, and from Super 8 to smartphone video, millions of visitors have captured their favorite moments on camera.
They just love animals, and getting to see them up close, getting to touch them and talk about them is the best experience they could have.
Shows like One Ocean are just part of the reasons families come back to the park again and again. Emily BOELE was born and raised in San Diego, and visiting SeaWorld is an annual summer tradition.
I loved the Shamu show. I actually knew someone that got to go, was a trainer that got to be on the Shamu's nose, so we always thought that was so cool.
Ulysses here, he's our largest killer whale here.
Trainer Mike FELICE has been front and center for hundreds of shows at Shamu Stadium. His focus is always on the whales, but he tries to pay attention to the audience too, to make sure they're having a great experience.
So people come and they want to get splashed by the whales. Well, I want to make sure that I get in some key information that they understand when they walk away from here. I actually learned I should be conscientious about the decisions I make in my normal day-to-day life because it will affect animals in the ocean.
First-time visitor or season ticket holder, the goal is for everyone who comes through these gates to have fun with family and friends and take away a renewed appreciation for the incredible creatures who share our planet.
I do like part of it spending time with my dad, watching the show and all the other shows.
I know that they're gonna, be different and be like neat. I think it's gonna be cool what's coming up.
Park staff and trainers are hard at work preparing new presentations and making sure SeaWorld keeps getting better for old friends and new, offering this one-of-a-kind experience in a different way.
As we go through this transition, I look at it as an opportunity to go, how do I now differently get to make that connection with the guests? What different opportunities do I have to present this type of information to the guests? Will this translate better to the guests if I do it this way? Or what if I did it this way? but it does give you goosebumps.
The Shamu shows are just one reason people keep coming back to this park, and we hope you'll come back after this short break as we learn how 3 little girls had their lives changed by SeaWorld.
How does this sound for a day job? Instead of a cubicle and desk, you have a 6 million gallon saltwater tank. No annoying clients or customers, just a few tons of killer whale.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good, and the success of Shamu and Friends would not be possible without a skilled and dedicated training staff. And our Jenny Day got to fulfill a lifelong dream to see how orca and human work together to create SeaWorld magic.
You don't see that very often. Hi, handsome.
Shamu first came on the SeaWorld scene in 1966. Dozens of whales have followed in his footsteps, keeping the wonder and excitement alive for millions of SeaWorld visitors.
I absolutely fell in love with just seeing the trainers interact with the whales. There was just something magical about it. I remember distinctly seeing Corky, who I work with today, and I was mesmerized by them, and I wanted to learn more about them.
I was 5 years old, and I took a trip to SeaWorld with my family and saw a female trainer interacting with a whale, and that was it. That was it for me.
The lucky few who made it here to the pinnacle of their profession all started out as one of those little kids in the front row. Their deep passion for these animals growing from the minute they saw their first show.
I think I was 9 years old. I worked the rest of my life to be here at SeaWorld.
Well, growing up, it was such a strong goal that I found out everything that I needed to do in order to become a trainer. So CPR, first aid, scuba, lifeguard certifications, a college degree, and spending time on stage. I did a lot of theater growing up.
And they have all learned the reality far exceeds the dream.
I'm so incredibly proud of what I've done and what I continue to do. So I would just tell my younger self, you did it.
Prepare for the adventure of a lifetime. I would tell my younger self that you will have the best days, some of the best days, and you will have some of the most challenging days working with animals. But at the end of those days, going home and knowing that you're making a difference.
You really can do something that you really believe in if you put your mind to it and you put a lot of hard work into it and you put all your passion into it. It's possible.
Lindy, KRISTI, and MISSY have all been trainers for nearly 2 decades, part of the generation who did their work going into the water with the whales.
It was a different time, and it was a lot of fun, and some of those moments I feel so blessed and so fortunate to have those in my memories. But I think that it's also good that we're moving forward with safety and with research.
As the One Ocean show transforms into Orca Encounter, the trainer's role won't change all that much.
So there are a variety of different training tools that we do, such as the whistle, which communicates yes to the animals. Everything that we do is based upon positive reinforcement. So when the whales do something that is correct, that we want to see increase in frequency, they're going to hear this whistle, and then they're going to get a lot of attention and love and different rewards for doing that particular behavior. If they do something that we might say, you know what, let's hope that decreases in frequency, we simply draw zero attention to an undesired behavior and we move on.
The focus moves away from showmanship to education about their underwater world.
I look forward to change. I think there's a lot of growth in change, and there's always something to learn with change, not only for us, but for the whales. It's going to be stimulating for them to do something different.
We're going to really be displaying the natural behaviors for our guests.
And while that means no more hours spent getting jumps, flips, and twists just right, the relationship between trainer and orca will remain critical going forward. That, and of course, all of that fish.
Our largest whale is just under 10,000 pounds and eats just under 200 pounds of fish every single day.
They find interacting with us rewarding, and it's fun. Again, much like your pet that wants to interact with you, wants to play with you.
For these former fans turned trainers, they know Shamu, and all of the creatures who have followed will forever have a place in history and in children's hearts and dreams.
In the 50 years since Shamu first graced the SeaWorld stage, there have been thousands of performances and a number of variations on the killer whale spectacular.
But few have matched this latest version of the show that shows in compelling fashion how we are one world, one ocean.
Every show at SeaWorld is the product of years of hard work and passion from producers and trainers to the stars of the show.
Now, as a little girl, it was my dream to work with animals, so every day I come to work, I am living out that dream.
Trainers share a special bond with the whales. They spend years developing that relationship, and most of it happens off stage and behind the big screen inside Shamu Stadium.
The trainers are communicating with each individual whale, and the trainers will understand that there's a script, but that's really just an outline for the trainers to follow. What's more important is that we are consistently observing the animals and their behavior. Now, there might be a part in the presentation that we want to send a particular behavior, but the script won't dictate that behavior.
While the audience enjoys the music, which by the way the orcas cannot hear, trainers backstage are running through a string of several behaviors and prepping the animals for their moments under the spotlight. The shows, as I found out, are about more than just entertainment.
Now, our goal in a presentation is exercise. So these are opportunities to not only show off the athleticism of the animals, but it's really an opportunity for the animals to display a lot of different behaviors that meet our exercise requirements for the animals.
Trainers start their day early to prepare the food for all of SeaWorld's animals, including hundreds of pounds of fish for the killer whales. Each animal has a very specific diet they receive every day that keeps them energetic and happy.
You know, the best way to correlate this is to a professional athlete. I think most people don't really think about what they're eating and how often they're eating throughout the day. Well, we are thinking about that, just like a professional athlete. We are understanding the nutritional requirements for our animals, and then we are breaking up the amount of food throughout the entire day.
Trainers have up to 30 pounds of fish to reward an orca during a show, but that's not the only type of reinforcement available.
We have a lot of secondary reinforcers, which are behaviors or reinforcements that are conditioned, meaning we teach the animals to find other things rewarding, because food is only valuable if the animal is hungry.
Those secondary reinforcements include ice cubes, toys, and rub-downs, which seem to be their favorite. Trainers say these massive creatures are very observant and swim to the glass before every show to see all the guests coming in to visit.
So I want them to be entertained while they're out there, and I want them to come away from the presentation and seeing these animals with a greater appreciation about the killer whale and learning how they can affect their counterparts in the wild.
Shamu, the killer whale, has been an enduring symbol of SeaWorld for the past 50 years. During that time, presenting a series of unforgettable shows that have amazed and delighted fans around the world. Well, now that signature experience is changing once again.
It's all part of a new exhibition to teach visitors about these incredible creatures. And as Jenny Day explains, it's all part of a brand new breathtaking presentation called ORCA Encounter.
SeaWorld San Diego is home to 11 killer whales, the largest weighing in at 10,000 pounds.
Corky, Kalia, Kasaka, Amaya, Orchid, and Shuka are our females. Ulysses, Keat, Ikaika, Nakai, and Makani are our males.
The One Ocean show that has been a SeaWorld staple is making way for a 21st century experience years in the making. ORCA Encounter will feature the same amazing cast of killer whales presented in a whole different way.
We'll replace it with a whole new natural looking set. The whole story will be different, the messaging will be different.
The whales live in an enormous 6 million gallon tank full of filtered water from Mission Bay. Soon the screens and stage will be replaced with a more realistic depiction of their natural habitat, bringing home the fact that the orca's future and that of the ocean itself is in our hands.
This is one world, one ocean. We share this, and how are we going to care for it together? And the killer whales helped us tell that story.
Rick Scheidemann is the Vice President of Entertainment at SeaWorld. Like many of his coworkers, he was inspired by his first trip to the park at age 13.
Immediately, when I saw the Shamu show, I fell in love with the whales. I said, this is amazing. I have to be a part of this.
Shamu shows as we know them started in 1966. Back then it was called Dr. Dolittle and featured Shamu in his first starring role. Then came Shamu Goes Hollywood, narrated by the late Debbie Reynolds. That followed Shamu for mayor, Shamu the Yankee Doodle whale, Shamu goes to college. You get the idea. Then in 1980 came This is Shamu, essentially an underwater ballet starring Shamu and his trainers.
Crazy stories and crazy costumes and things that were just so different and unusual. And then as we progressed, we started becoming a little bit more educational, a little bit more informational. Then we got into the video screens business where we could show some interesting highlights on the screens, music, told some great stories. So we've always been balancing that education and entertainment piece.
Over the years, Shamu has helped change the perception of killer whales from fearsome predator to intelligent, even playful creatures. In 1989, SeaWorld celebrated the arrival of the first baby Shamu, and in the 90s, new technology helped bring audiences closer to these majestic animals than ever before, while adding some lessons in natural history. Finally, the show One Ocean brought all of these elements together and set the stage for the latest evolution of the program, Orca Encounter.
I want people to understand that we still have killer whales at SeaWorld. They're still going to see them jumping. They're going to still see them interacting with the trainers. They're still going to get splashed. So it's just going to be different music. There's going to be a different approach. We're going to be a little bit more educational with our content.
That means our favorite part of the Shamu show, the soak zone, isn't going anywhere. The breaching and tail flips stay because those are natural killer whale behaviors. They're also good exercise and important for guests to learn more about how orcas hunt, navigate, and communicate in the wild. The goal is to leave the audience feeling like we've been a part of a live documentary with a deeper appreciation and respect for the orcas. Here's a sneak peek at the future of SeaWorld's Orca Encounter.
The ocean's most powerful predator, like you've never experienced. The all-new Orca Encounter at SeaWorld. Witness dynamic, natural behaviors up close. See the whale's story come to life on the giant infinity screen. Hunting techniques, communication and codes, family interaction, natural fun and play. Feel the deep connection between killer whales and our oceans. Get to know them like never before at the all-new Orca Encounter at SeaWorld, San Diego.
Show producer Teresa Meigi-Bendorf will supervise Orca Encounter. Like so many of the staff, working at SeaWorld is her dream job.
I pinch myself every day that I'm lucky enough to work with such fabulous people in the entertainment department, but to actually work hand in hand with our trainers who know so much and care so much for our whales. We want to educate, and we want the takeaway to be the appreciation for these magnificent animals from our guests.
She can't wait for this next chapter in the Shamu saga.
You see the kids' faces, light up. I mean, the splash segment, when you see the people get wet, they're so surprised when they get hit with that 52 degrees salt water. They're always so surprised, and for us and the crew, it never gets old.
You can catch Orca Encounter when it debuts this summer. A whole new experience SeaWorld promises will thrill and inspire the next generation of fans.
Thank you for joining us for SeaWorld's One Ocean celebration, an inside look at the past, present, and future of one of San Diego's most beloved attractions.
We want to thank our friends at SeaWorld for allowing us to bring you this incredible footage and interviews with the people who make the SeaWorld experience come alive. For Jim Patton and the rest of the CW6 News crew, I'm Linda Martin. Thanks for watching.